I'd like to call the meeting, the Plan Commission meeting to order. Can I have roll call starting from my right?
Wiesinger here.
Gabriel here.
Janzak here.
Dilge here.
Jamadi here.
Dalton here.
Capel here.
We also have our zoning administrative assistant support specialist, Taylor Ochinsky, and Lexi Dargowitz, but I don't know exactly what your title is, Lexi.
Zoning administrator.
Zoning administrator, thank you very much. I just met you today, it's nice to meet you. And town attorney Nick Flanagan. Certified posting of the meeting?
I certify that on Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Plan Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024 was posted at the following locations. Rome Town Hall, 8:55 a.m., Quick Trip LLC, 11:55 a.m., Mrs. Bradford State Bank, 11:48 a.m., posted on the Town of Rome website on June 4th, and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on June 4th. The legal notice was published in the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on May 28th and June 4th.
Thank you. And motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
I'll second it.
I have a motion to approve by Lori, seconded by Paul. All in favor? Aye. Citizen comments. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the Plan Commission welcomes comments from any town resident, not a member of the commission, on any item not on the agenda. I would like to remind the public and the commissioners to know that pursuant to state law, the commission cannot engage in conversation with you, but may ask questions. The commission may refer the item to staff, a standing committee, or a future Plan Commission agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the chair providing their name, address, and the topic for discussion. The commission will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the commission begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. So now, no action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda. Does anyone have any information, updates, recent correspondence, current events?
No, we had the first band shell concert in the Rome Town Center on last Friday night. I understand there was a good turnout there. You'll see a few more shows throughout the summer.
And I think I saw that on Rome, Wisconsin, the website, they have the calendar of events for the band shell as well. Okay. Okay. And with that, I'd like to open the public hearing. First item, consideration of a final plat for Sedge Village North to be located on a 38.03 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, described as follows. Lots 1 and 2, Sedge Village, document number 572728, and part of the southwest 1/4 and northwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4, and part of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4, section 26, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. Nick?
Madam Chair, good evening, everyone. So applicant Sedge Village LLC has submitted a final plat for Sedge Village North subdivision. The proposed 38.03 acre subdivision is located partially on lots 1 and 2 within Sedge Village subdivision, as well as a portion of adjacent quarter sections of section 26. 28 lots are proposed in the plat, with lot sizes ranging from 0.37 acres to 24.17 acres. Private roadways serve the proposed subdivision, extending from Luna Lane, which was previously platted as part of Sedge Village subdivision and noted as under construction. The southern portion of the subdivision proposes a rerouting of Luna Lane from the location previously platted. Please note that the 28 lots is an increase in the number from the preliminary plat, which had
You're
proposed
joining a call with one other person.
19 lots and 5 outlots. The additional lots are reflected in the southern part of the plat, and they address the relocation of the Luna Lane location over to the east. Lots 20 through 24 on the plat now properly the relocated Luna Lane, while ensuring each lot has acceptable road frontage along the roadway, as opposed to the preliminary plat's designation of lands for the area between the previous location and its new location. The Plan Commission considered the preliminary plat for Sedge Village North at its meeting on May 14th, 2024, made the recommendation to the town board for approval. The town board approved the preliminary plat at its meeting on May 16th. Included in your packet materials is the final plat application and final plat, along with the approved findings of fact for the preliminary plat from the Plan Commission's May 14th meeting. Also included is an updated set of the Declaration of Covenants. Just a general note to that, the Declaration of Covenants now properly addresses the outstanding naming and consistency issues. What they did now is they folded in all of the Sedge Village developments, so that would be Sedge Village South, and Sedge Village North, all under that master document. That document is included in your materials and now properly addresses the condition that was put on the preliminary plat recommendation at your last meeting. Letters were sent to 6 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. And just a general note that staff has reviewed the final plat submission based on the standards found in Code Chapter 326-14, and it does have consistency with these updates that I have reviewed.
Thank you.
And John should be on there.
Hello?
It said it joined the call, so I'm not sure.
John Cass.
Hello, this is John.
Yep,
Yes.
he's there.
Hi. John Kastner? Right?
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm making notes. Okay, thank you. Do you have anything that you would like to add or address or give us additional information on?
Not at this time. Thanks, Nick.
Does anyone have questions for Mr. Kastner regarding the plats? Okay. So I just want to clarify, the additional lots, 20 through 24, are added due to the fact that now we have that Luna Lane in there, so that all the properties now are abutting the roadway. Okay.
Correct. So on the preliminary plat, like I said in that report, there was a strip in the middle, almost like, we'll call it an island that just said lands. What they've done is now they've properly reflected that relocation, and all of those lots that were to the left or the west of that island of lands is now moved over with lot designations, and they properly abut the relocated lane.
And with the last amendment that they did on the declaration, you again you stated that that clarifies and solidifies everything.
Correct.
Okay. No other questions? No other questions for John? Taylor, should we call him back later when we're into the,
We have more questions.
if we have more questions? Okay.
Madam Chair, you'll want to see if anybody would like to speak in favor.
Anyone in the audience have any questions for Mr. Kestner or anything with regard to this development? There are no questions, John. So I think, unless we have more questions, we will let you go.
All right, I'll be on the line till the other one, but that sounds good. Thank you.
What we would need to do though, John, because we do have to make a call to another person that's on our agenda, we would need to disconnect this call and then we would need to call you back. Is that all right?
That's fine with me. I'll be
Okay.
around.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Paul took care of it.
Everyone else has left the call.
They've all left. We're good.
Our new fancy phone.
Thank you. All right, the second agenda item. Consideration of a Rome Town Center District map amendment from mixed commercial light industrial subdistrict to mixed town center subdistrict for a 10-acre portion of town-owned property within Rome Town Center, described as follows: being part of parcel number 030-01136-0501, located in part of the northwest one quarter, and northeast one quarter, northwest one quarter of Section 17, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. Nick?
At the May 16, 2024 Town Board meeting, the Town of Rome Board of Supervisors approved Resolution 24-08, authorizing the sale of approximately 10 acres of property in Rome Town Center to Scenic Valley Properties LLC. The 10 acres is part of parcel number 30-1136-501, which is located in at the corner of Anoa Court and Geneva Trail. Scenic Valley Properties proposes construction and operation of a resort development consisting of container and small houses for rental in a primarily natural setting, with a stated theme and aesthetic goal of embracing and enhancing the natural surroundings with minimal tree removal, berm creation, and additional plantings. All of Rome Town Center has a zoning district designation of RTC district and is further divided into 5 sub-districts under the Town Code, Section 360-81. Each of the respective sub-districts have noted general characteristics and identified principal, which would be permitted and conditional uses associated therein. The current sub-district classification for the subject parcel is mixed commercial light industrial. Currently, only the mixed town center sub-district allows lodging facilities as a permitted use. As such, there would need to be a sub-district reclassification for the property to allow the property sale and associated project development to proceed forward. Note that should there be a recommendation and approval to the subject district reclassification, there would still need to be a requirement for the developer to submit a site plan and plan of operation for the development, with the development meeting the mixed town center sub-district requirements under Code Section 360-81.2, as well as general requirements for the Rome Town Center sub-districts found in 360-81.6. Included in your packet materials is a conceptual presentation for Creighton Pines, which is the proposed development name, the town board's resolution for sale of town owned property in Rome Town Center, a GIS map showing the location of the 10 acres in the town center, and a Rome Town Center sub-district map identifying with the black box outline the location. The current sub-district and surrounding sub-district classifications is also on that, and I would just note that you have an updated one in front of you this evening. Thank you, Taylor, for putting that out there. Finally, for reference, I provided the pertinent sections of the town code associated with both the mixed commercial light industrial sub-district and the proposed mixed town center sub-district. Letters were sent to 24 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
You are here to speak
For
on,
Scenic Valley Properties.
and your name is?
Amy Lorenz.
Lorenz? Okay,
Do your presentation, I guess. Is she-
yes,
Okay,
you have a presentation ready to go, okay.
sure. And then feel free to ask along the way too.
Now, the one problem we have is our speaker system in the room. And this is televised and recorded, and unless you aren't speaking as close to the microphone as possible, the millions of people watching out there would not be able to
Don't
hear
tell me
you.
that there are millions
Oh,
of people
okay.
watching me. I'm just gonna start with a concept that I have had
Is that mic on? Is the red light on?
It's on. Do I have to eat it? Hello? Is that better? I'm going to start out with a concept that you haven't seen before from me. This is a concept I provided to a manufacturer of crate homes or container homes. So this is somewhat of the concept. Don't take the exact exterior design. That's not what I have in mind. More of what you see in your packet is what I have in mind. But just kind of the luxury level of this and the flow and the fact that you're in it, you're really not feeling like you're in a tiny home. So I'm just going to show you this. It moves kind of quickly, so. don't see that on paper with what I've given you, but I hope you can see my visualization for this product. This is not your mom and pop. I just have a house. I'm just going to put it on Airbnb. This is an experience. So this will be an experience with others of like homes. No two will most likely be the same. The interiors will definitely be different, and there might be some stick-built Scandinavian, possibly two-story designs as well. But they'll all have the same theme as far as I want that luxury experience, but yet in the woods, I want walkability to the little things that can be near me, as far as like the brewery and the meat shop and mini golf, all of those things. That's what makes this unique, is that it's just not out in the middle of everywhere. It does have some community value as well. So driving around town today, I noticed that the only store open was the meat shop. And I think that bringing in, you know, the maximum people we could probably have in this would be 50 if we had 4-bedroom or 4 people occupancy with 6 units. That's 48 people. That'd be 48 new people for every single place in the town center. So that is my goal, is to have a partnership with the community.
Would it be possible to turn the screen so that that could be shown to,
Sure, I don't break it.
and maybe, I don't know if it'll catch on the camera or anything.
So again, the exterior is not my plan, but that's what I'm having bid out as one of the properties.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a little bit about my background as well. I'm not new to construction or to trying things out of the box. I am a realtor. I'm also a general contractor. I have designed and listed a brand new development on the Mississippi in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and we are almost complete at 26 units, something that wasn't foreseeable as being anything profitable, but I helped them come up with a design that would be profitable and would appeal to the masses, and those are high-end luxury units. We just sold one last month for $900,000. 4-bedroom, on the water, boat slip included. I have also purchased out a development that was bank-owned, and couldn't get many people to buy it, but I saw the future, and I purchased it, and I was able to sell lots from then on that we couldn't get rid of at $60,000 for up to $115,000, $120,000. So as the developer in that area, I was also able to build 3 high-end spec homes on that. Something that no other female contractor was doing at the time, above and beyond anything that people were doing in that price point. No contractor was doing a $650,000 spec home, but I was doing it and doing well. I've also flipped homes, and I've basically been in construction and real estate my whole life. So that's a little bit of background about me. I'm not afraid to take on a new adventure when I see the potential in it.
Are there any questions from the commissioners?
I just want to bring up the fact that the agenda item here is rezoning and not a site plan of operation. And this is going to require spot zoning, which is a policy that the town has adopted against and avoid spot zoning whenever possible. So I don't think it's appropriate to spot or rezone that small section without looking at the whole town center park.
Madam Chair, I believe we're in the hearing right now, and I believe she has an opportunity to present her product. And I think we have an opportunity to ask her additional questions if we could before we get into more discussion. Did you have anything else you wanted to present?
Well, I think personally that this would only be a benefit to the town center. I think that the current zoning itself doesn't really bring in probably the tourism that you're looking for in this area. It might bring in something that could create a product and maybe, yes, a few jobs, but is that really going to bring income into the city? So I feel that this particular plot, especially where it's at, probably isn't the most highly desirable lot in your area where you could see some additional growth with commercial products. I think this is a good fit between what you have commercially and what's out there next to it.
And Nick, may I direct a question to our attorney? Nick, we're talking about a district, the Rome Town Center district, which has sub-district, which is different from our comprehensive plan. So when we're referring about spot zoning, there have been occasions where we have altered zoning within the Rome Town Center sub-districts to allow for other developments. Is that correct?
So, just a general comment first, is that when we did our design plan and folded that into our town code and the zoning ordinance to try to create simplicity for development, we still have the Rome Town Center District. This is zoned Rome Town Center District. We have sub-districts within that district, of course, that's listed on that map, and this would be a classification change. It still has Rome Town Center District zoning. From the standpoint of our comp plan, if that's what you're asking about, I just wanna make sure I'm addressing that question that was asked of me. We are not changing this from RTC district to residential 1 or B1, anything like that. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yes.
So
It's a reclassification, not a rezone.
You have a map, just like you always had as, when it was the Alpine Village, center, and you had a separate document, the Development and Design Manual. You had a map that guided development. Then when we did the design plan, we updated that with a new map that guided development. Just recently, we had a consultant that gave a presentation on a completely flexible map. The point is, the map guides the development. We set forth our sub-districts that have different standards associated with it that align with our development, that design plan.
And businesses beget businesses, and if we're gonna grow a district, a small downtown or town center, which is the whole concept behind the Rome Town Center, and grow businesses, a walkable community within a community, which a resort would do in an area that hasn't been able to sell at a price point that's higher than any other land that we've been able to sell in 20 years. I'm sorry, Supervisor.
Bill?
That's right.
Bill.
Did we need to do this, a similar process for the Rome Away from Home vacation home?
I don't believe we had to do a similar process because the.
It was already incorporated?
Was.
There, we
already
just had to up
mixed
the
up.
percentage of available
So
living space.
that brings up the other point, right? I mean, there's a couple other ways that we have approached development in the past in the town center or Alpine Village before that. One way would be to just start plugging in new permitted uses.
Yep.
I mean, in the current district,
Easy
which we've
here.
done, by
Yep.
the way, in the past. The other way is to adjust standards, right? And we've done that as well in the past. Whether that would be, I believe we adjusted some standards with the apartments, for example, when we had development there. So we've approached this a couple different ways. The point being, rather than start plugging in different permitted uses in the district, this was a more mindful way of approaching this, to not start carving out additional uses in districts, but rather to classify, the sub-district to be consistent with the use that is being proposed. It's still up to you all, and the town board has final say on the actual classification change, but that's the thought process behind doing it.
And if we get back to what's being proposed by the developer here, an interested developer, we're looking at light industrial, commercial, 10 acres in an area that's, if you look to the south of there and go down that road, it's not a road that's at any time the town would ever put through, because we don't even have the money or plans to complete a road that was started last year that the previous administration or administrator had money in the budget for. I'm just stating facts. And so there's a mobile home there, there's 2 big warehouses there, and it's a dead end. If you look to the east of there, there's a huge cranberry processing plant with trailers, semis, and everything else, which is industrial, and there's industry to the north of there. So she's looking at putting shipping containers, high-end, interior, exteriors, in a rustic setting that makes it part of a walkable community, 10 acres. So we're talking about reclassifying 10 acres in an area for a price point that is very good.
How would you categorize what you're proposing, a resort,
Rustic resort,
a rustic resort?
luxurious,
Okay, so that would be lodging as pursuant to our sub-district, okay?
So you're talking 1 night, 2 night stays, 3 night stays,
Whatever.
10 night stays,
Yep.
14 nights if they wanna stay
Yep.
that long.
Yep.
Hey, Nick, is there any property in here that would fit that?
Not in the location that's being proposed, but yeah, the mixed town center, the green on your,
Any of the green areas would work.
correct.
My opinion is that if we're gonna look at this, we should probably look at rezoning, or I should, not rezone, reclassifying, most of that town center park, so that it's not, the way we got it broke up right now, even the expert that we had in here to give us recommendations said it needs to be, opened up a little bit more, and it's too, what do I wanna say? Specific on different areas, so you don't have a lot of flexibility when you wanna sell some property.
And that's what we're doing with this project. I think that's what we're absolutely doing with this project. And she picked a great location for that. Versus if we look at 55-plus housing, workforce housing, single-family homes, middle housing, that would be more suitable for the land that he's mapped out for us that we need to take additional looking at when we do put a road in. So this fits for biking, hiking, on a dead-end road with industrial-looking type resort.
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
just say one comment, because I think it's a really valid point that was brought up, and I would just note that, as I understand it, and others that are on the CDA can correct it, but my understanding is that they will be continuing to work with the consultant, and you will likely see recommendations coming forward to promote that flexibility going forward. So I think there is an intention to do that.
It would make more sense to have most of this as mixed town center rather than industrial and so forth that we don't seem to have a lot of activity in.
Exactly.
I do have one question for you.
Sure.
Were the pictures that you showed us, were those actually metal containers or?
Yeah, they are shipping containers. They are one-use containers, so from China, they come over here and there's an abundance of them. They are not ones that are ratty and old at all. They are prime containers. They're the higher ones, so they'll be 9 feet inside and fully insulated. They are a house.
Okay. And that was the video that you showed us?
That's the one I'm having bid out. However, the roof lines will be the more modern Scandinavian look like you have. Looking to have a screened-in porch. I mean, the mosquitoes are not tame out there, so.
That's true.
And you were thinking possibly 6 on this?
Well, I would prefer to do a few more, but the committee before put a limit on 6 for the
that-
10 acres.
For the 10-acre parcel,
Yes.
6.
So at some point, I wouldn't mind having a, first right of refusal for another 5 if this takes off.
Were you thinking of putting in some kind of, like a community center of some kind as well?
A community area for sure.
Okay.
There might be an extra, crate for, snowshoes and, that kind of thing, as well as fire pit activities, all within the community, yeah.
Would you be doing any rentals out of there to the public for snowshoes or things?
Potentially if there was a demand for
So
that,
there'd be a retail kind of a thing, or?
that would be something to consider for sure.
Okay.
Things like that aren't, size specific for sure. If it could be like, with either the management company that's helping out or some kind of a locker unlock system.
I guess I have a hard time wrapping my head around the placement of the containers with regard to setback requirements or, but that'll be down the road, I'm
Be
sure.
on the
Do you have a
plan.
picture with, if we go into the presentation she originally did for CDA and then brought it to the town board, there was a picture with dots on it. And I kind of look at it like, if you've ever been in a resort in really remote up north or the UP where they have cabins sprinkled, lack of a better term, like sprinkled in, yes. But sprinkled or spattered throughout the woods and you walk on a trail, or like if you were ever at Girl Scout camp, They had one cabin over there and one cabin over there, or the boys were over there and the girls were over there.
Right. Yeah.
Kinda thing.
I recently stayed at an Airbnb community somewhat like this with tiny homes in Nashville, and they were extremely close together.
They're too close
They
together.
were like, it's like you open up a window and you could see somebody there.
Yours will be farther apart.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you will not.
You have 10 acres with 6 units, and
Yeah.
that's what we talked about
Yeah.
at CDA.
You will
but-
we'll place the window so you won't actually see that anyone else is there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what she wanted, was spacing.
And I'll reiterate that, to your comment, Chairwoman, there is no absolving of the follow-up requirement that would have to happen, that all of the standards within the district, you know,
Would have to
and
still
so the
apply.
general standards in that district, right, and the sub-district standards, if you reclassify it, be met. So that will still have to happen.
Okay. Do we have any other questions up here? Otherwise, are there any questions from our audience? And if you do wish to speak, if you could come to the microphone and state your name and your address, please.
All right, my name is Linda Gehrig. I live at 1163 Anawa Court, where she's looking to stick her nice places at. I don't want her there personally. I can't see that on my, across the street from my house.
Well, you probably won't.
A good thing, because I live across the street from that, what you're looking at. I'm thinking if the business park entrance where they tore on all those trees going all the way down there, way going to 13th, in that area, maybe, to stick your homes up over there, but across the street from my house, I personally don't want it.
Have light industrial?
I don't know if I want light, she said 55 plus housing probably don't sound bad for me, but it's not gonna be
over
all
here.
luxury.
There's a tree buffer. There would still be a tree buffer there.
There would
She is
be?
required by the standards to still have a buffer.
Oh, she is?
Yes.
I don't,
Want to see your house, to be honest with you. I mean, that's the thing.
wouldn't.
No, and that's not what I meant. I mean, what I meant is, I want this to be like, this community is like hidden. You might not see anything.
Oh,
It's not gonna be like the apartment buildings that we see now when we go in the business park.
only
It's gonna
questions.
be.
You got too luxury looking.
Sure.
I think this might give you a better idea if you take a peek at what's in the packet. And I can show everyone else what's.
Nick, what is she allowed, I guess, there?
So you're
is she
gonna,
allowed
actually
to
looks
allow
like
them
you're
to
gonna be in the
discuss?
middle of the woods.
Yes, that's the whole point.
There can be questions and a response, I mean, so.
From up
that's-
here, but
There can be response, so any questions or comments or concerns that are shared, the applicant can have.
Address.
Okay, thank
the
you.
opportunity
They
to
can do
respond to
that.
Now, whether you do that real time like this, or allow the concerns and then allow the applicant to address, that's probably the way I would recommend it if we have more concerns or questions.
This is what you.
Okay, so no different than what's been allowed in the past with other people with concerns in the audience. There you go.
In the city.
So you would, that'd be all blocked off by trees, so I wouldn't have to see you people.
Goes both ways.
All right. Just my opinion.
anyone else have any questions? I saw you hit
Yeah.
name and address, please.
My name is Cindy Lewis, and my address is 991 Wellington Court. And I'm just curious, like, so you're the developer, so would you have a company renting these out, or would who would own these?
I would own them under my LLC.
Okay, so you'd be the LLC that would own them, and then you would also be responsible for renting them out?
Yes, and I'll also have a management company helping as well.
Okay. So then the town would be selling them, and once you own the land, then they would be your properties, and then you would be managing them. Okay, I just was asking the question.
Perfect.
Anyone else have any questions? Any other questions from the commissioners? Do you have anything that you would like to add, or? Okay,
I don't think so.
okay.
Just hoping I'm welcome and can add to what you have here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amy.
Okay, next agenda item. Consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC DBA The Lure Bar and Grill to construct an outdoor event structure at 1735 Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1 of CSM 3590, located in part of Government Lot 2, Government Lot 3, and the Southeast 1/4, Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with the parcel number of 03004080010. Nick.
Applicant Barnum Bay Beach and Marina, doing business as the Lure Bar and Grill, requests approval for a site plan of operation for the property located at 1735 Archer Lane. Applicant purchased the Lure Bar and Grill establishment in 2023 because it was a continuation of existing development with no expansion at that time. A new site plan of operation was not required. Applicant is now proposing an expansion to the business to construct a 72 by 30 outdoor event structure located in the northeast area of the parcel and near the existing garage bar patio area currently located on the property. Included in your packet materials is a site plan of operation application, checklist, department head review and sign-off sheet, and site map plot plan with associated structure design plans. Letters were sent to 9 property owners within 200 feet of the property.
Okay. If you'd like to come and give us some information, first your name, please.
Yeah, Mark Anderson from The Lure. So yeah, we initially had tried to have a semi-permanent tent at this location. Because of the wind coming off the lake, that tent is not able to remain there. We currently have just been having a tent company come and install a tent any weekend that we're going to be having events, and it looks like there'll be weather. We feel it would be best for the business and for the community to have this as a permanent structure there. Several benefits if we were able to build it. I think it would look nicer than a tent that comes in and out. I think it would be safer to have a permanent structure that's not being assembled, disassembled, reassembled every week or two. We would be able to have it and have it inspected by the fire chief and have everything how it should be. We'd have power in there for lights, and it'd be much nicer. And also thinking about our neighbors and the noise from having concerts and weddings and events, we would be able to have better soundproofing or sound deadening around it based on a more permanent stick-built structure. It would have at least one wall behind kind of where the band often would be, and we'd be able to wrap around to have better soundproofing than just the thin tarp material that we have right now. So our goal is to put in this structure. It's in a spot that would work for the business, it would work for the power company. The Adams County did not seem to have any issue with it. They've signed off on it, I believe. So yeah, at this point, we just need approval.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
I do have one.
Yes, sir.
We have a map here that's stapled with an Adams County form. It has a measurement of 70 to 80 feet along the side and 70 to 80 feet at the corner. The map in our packet shows 100 feet and 10 feet at the corner. Which map are we supposed to be looking at?
I'm not.
If you want to step by, I can show you the difference. This is,
Take this one. Okay. That's the Adams County one, and then this is the one that you provided.
Right. So Adams County, we got a 100-foot easement from.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We have that microphone issue.
I know better too, I live here. So Adams County requests at least 100 feet from water edge in. So I made sure we were 70 to 80 feet off of their requirements to ours, because I know we have a 10-foot easement or 20-foot easement. So that's why I went over and beyond.
I see the difference now in the maps. Thank you.
Okay.
I got it.
I thought they were consistent, so I wasn't sure.
So the map that is attached with the form for Adams County is the one we
Correct.
should be looking at.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
They redid the one here for you guys, but it was supposed to be similar to the same thing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else have a question?
And I just wanna note that there were 3 emails that were, received regarding this application, and they were all sent to you, so they are part of the public record.
Thank you. I have a question with regard, does anyone else have a question before I? Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm confused with regard to your answers to days and hours of operation on your site plan. It's number 12, and how it corresponds with the answers put on number 17, inside, outside music, 6 to 10, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., and number...
So which numbers
It would,
again?
it would be number,
I'm looking at number 12 where we said 11 to 11,
Yeah, and then number 17,
6 to 10, or,
there's one other one.
there was one other one.
yes, okay. And then, is there another number or just those 2?
There's another one, I'll find it as you explain
But
the
I can
difference.
yeah, so right now, our normal hours of operation, we've never been doing anything past 11 making noise outside. The town ordinance for noise gets more strict after 10. And so we have been in touch actually this last week to try and stay compliant and not have any issues, to shift all of our music from 7 to 11 for a lot of our music to be 6 to 10 now, so that bands would be done by 10. We're also having when it's music, we're having our bands sign a waiver saying they are aware of the city ordinances and would be responsible for any noise violations that occur, which obviously they don't want to be. And so the plan is no significant amount of noise after 10 p.m. And so, yes, our hours of operation do go until 11 usually, but we would not plan on making noise in a concert type environment after 10.
Okay, just so I can clarify this in my head, you were going to shift the responsibility of the decibels to the bands when they sign contracts, but they are not willing to do that, so then ultimately it would still be you.
We plan on shifting responsibility to them, and they are willing to do that. They don't want to be responsible for violation of a noise ordinance, so they won't be making noise outside of the allowed hours.
That's what I'm understanding. He's saying they're not happy about it, but they're shifting it to them, is what I'm
Yeah, the bands
understanding.
aren't excited about being responsible, but that makes them partners in this to not.
It's similar
Cause any problems.
it used to be done at Trails too. They did the same thing for their bands. They would have them sign a waiver saying that, and if they go over the noise ordinance, then it falls on the band to be responsible. So it makes the band not want to be too loud.
So by not responsible, who would get a citation if there was a violation of the noise ordinance? Not the owner, not you.
Correct, but I'm sure there would be complaints, and we don't want that, which is why we've also
No, you don't.
shifted our bands to be 6 to 10. And we've actually had a couple bands cancel already because either they wanted later hours or because they say they can't go, they can't guarantee they'll be quiet enough, at certain hours. So we are working to have all of our bands understand that, effective this week, regardless of whether this pavilion is there or not, because we'll still have outside events. But as I said, I do expect that a structure like this would be much more, it'd be quieter for neighbors than a tent.
So it's already affected your business, not being able to draw certain bands, but this way you get bands to comply with you.
Yeah.
And they pay the tickets.
Well, hopefully there'll be no tickets, but
Exactly.
yes, but yes, you're correct. It should not reflect on us from a ticket standpoint, but we don't want that bad press per se. So we don't plan on having it be an issue regardless of who's responsible. At the end of the day, it's our property. We don't want that. So
Understood.
we've shifted to the 6 to 10. The bands will be responsible also, and we feel this would help make
whole
the better
issue with-
experience and help with the sound, and it would look nice and be safer.
I found the other number, number
Oh.
10.
Number 10, outside events, yes, every weekend, music or weddings, was that the number?
Correct.
Okay.
So every weekend, music or weddings, and then that means Sunday through Saturday, potentially?
In terms of events?
Well,
That's what you're asking?
outside events, at a outside
Yeah.
pavilion.
I mean, you tell us. I think the normal concerts we do would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. During the summer, if we can do more, we would, but those are daytime. We're not going until 10 PM on a Tuesday.
And then, when you show days and hours of operation on number 12, you don't tell me days, you just have 11 AM to 11 PM. What
Right,
are
so
the
if-
days and hours that you are anticipating?
We're open 7 days a week, and so I expect that people might sit out there and enjoy the view. They might play bags under the
Okay,
the
but that's
cover.
not necessarily the music.
But I don't think we'd be
aspect
doing
of it.
things that cause noise
Okay.
outside of the other number we gave you, the weekends, music and weddings.
May I ask for clarification? I think the way I read it is that when you said every weekend, music or weddings, outside events, you're saying the potential is that it may be every weekend, music or weddings. or
Yes, we do
events.
not have every
You
weekend
don't
day
have it
booked
planned
forever.
that way, but the potential's there.
No, we do have quite a few concerts booked. We do have a handful of weddings and
Right.
family reunions that
And
are
your
booking.
normal days of operations are 11 to 11. but then
Sunday
when we-
through Saturday.
Yeah, so then if you go to 17, inside, outside, it could be potentially 6 to 10 or 7 to 10. But now with the bands you're talking about,
The bands will be done by 10, or they'll be acoustic and quiet after 10. Yeah.
got it, okay.
Okay, so outside events every weekend, and then for the outside music, you say most Saturdays.
I would say through the summer, we have most Saturdays that are booked or will be booked.
The potential for a Friday is also there,
Yeah.
or a Sunday?
I mean, Sundays are usually slower in the evening, and so, like this past Sunday, we had music from 1 to 4.
If I may, most Sundays are duos or trios, and they're usually on the patio right by the garage bar. Their levels are lower because they're inside, partially inside, outside on the front garage bar towards the lakeside in that corner. So it's usually just a single guy singing or a duo singing on Sundays, like he said, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. I mean, nothing as far as band, if you want to consider them a band, then yes, but I call them duos or trios.
Okay.
I do have one question. Is the roof on the lure currently is blue, is it not?
Yes, it was replaced.
Why, on your spec sheet here, it says roof color white? I'm just curious on why we're not following the same color roof.
Doesn't matter, it's not
When,
a gateway.
when Menards developed and designed this, they just, subject to change, that we would like it to match. They just did not have a blue that they could print out would show blue.
Yeah.
So,
I was just curious why the
Yeah,
roof color
yeah.
changed.
We'd love to match, but this is the kit that we would be able to get. So if we can get it with the blue roof.
I got one more question on that. So then you're gonna have one wall that's gonna be a backdrop, you said, correct? And
The
th-
plan in here, yes, is to have the one backdrop wall.
And that would be towards the residential side and open towards the lake, I'm guessing?
Yes, sir, yes. Yeah, so the thickest, most significant sound deadening of the actual wall would be towards the neighborhood, the HOA, closest to us, to the north. And then we'd be able to wrap sound deadening, fabric or tarp, around to the sides as well. The bands have actually requested that we get some sides on their kind of last maybe 10 feet as well to help keep them out of rain or out of the sunlight to be on their equipment. So it benefits them if we wrap something around, and it benefits obviously the neighbors in that direction if we put a little bit more fabric or something there.
So it's a win-win, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it'll be more of a fabric, a 10-foot from your, if you have your solid wall here.
Yeah.
It would be like a 10-foot and a 10-foot, and that's about as much as you would think as far as a wrap. It would
No.
not be totally enclosed.
Well, so I have two answers for you.
Okay.
Number one, when we purchased the tent that didn't survive some of the wind recently, we purchased heaters that kind of duct under the tent fabric from outside in to blow hot air. We still have those. Those weren't damaged in the wind. And so when it's cold, we would like to be able to enclose almost the whole thing so that we can be blowing warmer air inside. With that said, there's a different type of fabric that we would use just to retain heat and block wind versus what we would do for sound deadening. The sound deadening material is significantly heavier weight, it's thicker, it's more expensive, but it is more of like an acoustic panel. I think they say it's a pound per square foot or something is what this fabric is, and it absorbs a lot more noise. So we wouldn't want to wrap the entire building in that, but that's what we're kind of picturing around the band side and the side that would be closest to the neighbors. And then we could have a material that's just for retaining the warmer air and blocking wind around the rest if and when we wanted those sides covered.
I have a question also with regard to parking.
Yes.
With what you have in mind, what is your feeling with regard to the parking situation you have there and accommodating additional parking, et cetera, during your events and your
Yeah.
business and everything else?
I mean, my expectation is we would not spill out of the parking that we already have available. These events are usually later in the day when people are done at the beach, and they are kind of more in the evening. It's a different crowd that's parking there for the evenings, for the bar and for music. We already have people that are coming on, a normal Friday night for the restaurant and for concerts, and so I don't see any significant difference. We would be happy if, there's concern, we'd be happy to put up signs or anything saying no parking on the neighborhood streets or anything, but I've not heard from the town or anybody that that's been happening, just that it's a concern that it potentially could happen.
And if it could potentially happen, do you have a plan in mind with regard to expansion of the parking lot, and where would that be? If you have a plan in mind right now, it's down the road.
Well, so two answers to that. There's no immediate plan. At some point in the future, we will be talking to you again about the vacant land that we have that we would like to build on. That plan would involve parking for guests that might stay in that land, but also just adding additional parking spaces in that land, trying to balance keeping the DNR happy because they don't view gravel as permeable, but also having that extra parking. Yeah, we're somewhat locked. I can't move closer to the water. I can't move, I don't want to move closer to the neighbors if I can avoid it. So we have quite a bit of parking already. And we have kind of a grassy, gravelly lot right now as well that we use as overflow parking when we need to, that rarely actually gets used.
The statement that you had made with regard to the gravel not being, DNR doesn't look
Yeah.
at that. And I noticed in your plan, you showed that the ground area of the tent will have, or it's not a tent,
Yeah,
but
this
of your
pavilion area.
structure is going to be dirt gravel.
Yes.
Is that going to be problematic if you have that type of a?
It shouldn't,
because of
because
the-
everything there is sand. So there's really nothing to worry about from a rain or runoff standpoint. and the county was fine with this plan.
They were fine when they gave you that approval there? They knew that, okay.
Yeah.
May I ask a question in conjunction with the parking?
Yes.
So if you have overflow parking, does some of that sometimes go on the area to the north of the current establishment?
That grassy, sometimes, yeah. And then, as I said, when it's evening, they also will spill down towards the beach, because we have parking down there for the beach and the marina. And so we can park that direction also.
Very similar to where they were for your races this weekend?
Yeah.
Any other questions from here? Do we have any questions from the audience? Yes? If, your name and your address, please?
Yes, ma'am. My name's Scott Bordeaux. I live at 537 Barnum Bay Trail. Before I get into this, I'd just like to say our association is against this proposal. But I'd like to address
Which association are you with?
Archer Park Association. We're just to the north of there. On this plan, Mr. Anderson indicated that there was going to be some sides and orientation. It doesn't show that on this plan. If this committee allows us to go through, I wish it would be a consideration to the points Mr. Anderson made about having the direction of this pavilion faced away from the neighbors and have some sidewalls on that. I think generally the attitude in the area is that, again, we are against this, but directing the noise away from the neighborhood could substantially reduce the impact. The impact thus far has been 9 calls to the police department in the past 59 days. 3 citations have been issued. It sounds to me like Mr. Anderson is trying to change that with some procedures with his bands, but thus far, this is what we have endured. So again, the impact on number 22, any potential nuisance, odor, smoke, noise resulting from this operation, the circle is no. We disagree with that. And again, our closest resident is about a half a mile from there. There are 2 associations that are closer and that have much more impact to this, the bands and the events that are going on. So, again, going forward, condition with the direction of orientation, I would urge you to consider that so the impact is less to us. That's all I have right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to also state, and I think I do that at this time maybe, that we have gotten correspondence, letters from Leslie Joe Fairchild and the Barnum Bay Condominium Association and from the Archer Park Community Association, and we're going to enter those in the record.
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Okay. As we already said, we would plan on orienting everything so that the noise was directed away from the closest neighbors to the north. We would have the backstop or a wall there to minimize noise. We've talked about the sound deadening measures we would plan on taking. As far as the police calls, there's been a number, but many of them have been for nothing. The police have come out and found that we were well under the allowed decibel limits, especially when there's been calls mid-afternoon or early evening when the decibel limit is 80 or 85, and we've been closer to 50. So the number of calls, I think, may indicate the concern or the annoyance of the neighbors, but not necessarily that we are doing things out of line. The couple times we found that we were out of line, or that we've been told we're still waiting on the citations, so we have not seen any of them despite being told there's 3. So we're waiting on that, and we've been putting measures in place already to remedy that.
I guess I'd like to just ask one question, is that this is something you're doing already, and you're doing it with the tents.
That's correct.
So you're gonna try to do it with a building now going forward, or what we call it a roof or enclosure. So you're trying to improve the situation from where it was, is what I'm kinda seeing.
Correct. I would say it's what we've been doing this year. It's what we did some over the last several years, even before I purchased. This has been happening. Often it's been done just in the open air with no enclosure. Now we're doing it with the enclosure. But this would, I think, look nicer, be safer, and provide better sound protection. So yes, doing the same thing we've been doing, but hopefully better.
More aesthetically pleasing,
Safety for sure.
and maybe the acoustics will even be better for the structure.
I mean, I haven't had any of our patrons say that the acoustics weren't good for them, but I think anything we can do, as we said, to point noise away from our neighbors towards the lake, makes sense. So, yeah, having a permanent structure where it's always set the same and always set up the same makes a lot of sense to us and our bands.
The main wall or the solid wall would be on the east side of that building then? Is
West, I thought you said, is that?
No, so
on the
west is
east or the
lakeside,
west?
so it would
West
be
would be
kind of
lake.
north to northeast side.
That solid wall right now is just metal. On this drawing I'm seeing from Menards, what is the
I
material?
believe it's metal, but the expectation is that we will be doing additional work to this once it's complete. I mean, it's not coming with electric either. So we would be able to add much nicer insulation to the backside once it's completed and built.
And there would be no HVAC in there, but you are going to utilize that portable type of thing and bring that in when needed.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nick, do you happen to recall when, Camelot put in their pavilion? Wasn't that just recently? Were you here in 2017? Didn't they just put theirs in recently?
I don't know the exact date offhand.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, please come up.
My name is Rick Georgeson. I have resided in Archer Park since 2000. So I'm on my 24th year. I'm here for sailing. I have rented a slip at Barnum Bay all of those years, and I plan on staying there. So I'm a resident, and I use the facility. It's just so important that we all understand we have basically 65 residents in that area, homes and condos. Mostly retired people, not all. Some ill, some stroke survivors, some people fighting cancer, the normal, what occurs with senior citizens. people bought for the quiet, the peace, the serenity. A typical weekend might be arrive on Friday night, put some hooks on the worms on the hook and go down to the dock and fish. Maybe come up and have a campfire. Maybe watch a beautiful sunset. Maybe go for a sail. It's all changed. This music, I mean, I live a mile away. Sometimes you can hear the lyrics to the songs a mile away. Okay? I've had people say that they're changing the arrangement of their bedroom. They're going to move the master bedroom to the back side where it might be a little more quiet. One person called, talked to the lure, asked for the manager. She said, just a minute, I'll go get him. They hung up. So you see, up to now, like a good neighbor, we've not seen. It's very, very disappointing. It would be just an absolute mistake to allow this continue. It's not a place to have a music venue. It's just not a place. And I've heard the argument, yes, well, it was zone business. Well, there's a lot of business that's not noisy. It wasn't zoned to make noise and disturb neighbors. Elderly people trying to figure out how to live with this is creating stress. It's not good on their health. It would be a total mistake to allow this to continue. I have been asked to read the letter that Archer Park has written, and I'd like to do so at this time.
I believe you are at your 3-minute limit.
Some of what's in this letter has been addressed. One item that was addressed, and in my mind it wasn't clear because we were going to talk about the aesthetics. I think I heard by Tom, is the roof going to match? And I think I heard the answer was, well, the roof that's coming isn't, but we're going to work on it. We didn't hear that, yes, this roof will match and be aesthetically pleasing. We've heard about one wall. The people in the condos probably pay the brunt of this, and that's to the east. So I feel that there needs to be 2 walls, blocking the noise to the east and blocking the noise to the north. We've got people that are not, they're choosing which weekends to come up to avoid the music, which is awful. Now they're looking at, well, when won't there be music? That's when I'll come. I want the committee, the planning commission to know that I can't say all because I don't know that, but I will say the majority of everybody in that neighborhood is totally opposed to this. It just does not fit. It's very inappropriate. Just does not fit at all.
Thank you, Mr. Georgeson.
Thank you.
I would just like to say that they do have their canopy event tent, application. It has been approved already, so whether this goes through, they still have that, just so everybody is aware that that has been passed. They had a building and a zoning permit for their event tent.
Yes. Did you wish to?
No, I mean, I think that was the big point, is we've been doing this, I mean, as much as we're doing it more now, this has been going on for more than 20 years. I mean, The restaurant has been there. It's been a bar and a restaurant. It's been hosting events. It's been hosting concerts. It's been hosting jet ski races and snowmobiles and everything. And that's not changed. What's changed is that it's new ownership and, you know, we're doing a little bit more, but we're trying to be a good neighbor and we're trying to do it while doing good things for the business and for all of our guests who actually do come and visit us. And so I think this will be better than the tent that's currently there. To answer the concern about the aesthetics, we can't say yes or no for certain. I wouldn't want an unaesthetic, you know, a bad look if we got a blue roof and it wasn't the same blue, so we have to confirm what's available. We didn't want to purchase this and pull the trigger on it until we know if it's approved, so we have not committed to the white roof, but we're trying to show you what in general this would be. We want it to look good. I'm not going to install something that's ugly. I think anything we do is gonna look nicer than the tent that's going up and down there right now and be easier on the neighbors than what's currently being done.
Okay. Yes.
Sherry Iverson, 1711 Archer Lane, Unit 9. I do appreciate the fact, I do think that they're trying to make things better, but I want you to know that Friday night was horrible. The noise was extremely loud. After the police were over there and they left, the noise continued. So if he says he's trying to be a good neighbor, I think he would have said to his band, stop, because it's bothering our neighbors. And my husband had it at 68 on our deck. We're about 9 units down. So I question if they're really truly trying to be a good neighbor. They knew this meeting was coming up. I would have thought they would have been minding their P's and Q's, okay? I would like to ask that they would read the letters that were sent, the 4 emails. I would ask that this committee would read them out loud, because they haven't seen them. So, okay, I think that's all. I think there was one more thing, but I can't remember.
Thank you.
I have a question. What, if I may, Mrs. Iverson, what time was that you
10:15.
complained? 10:15?
10:15.
Okay, thank you.
Honestly, on Sunday, Saturday night, it was better, and on Sunday, it was much better. So,
I just want to add to her Friday night thing. You know, the police have come. I have personally been there every time, making sure the band is doing what they can to turn everything down before the police even come there. I know, as they say, it's been going on for a while, with the police coming. So I'm pretty much know what time they're gonna come and when they're gonna come. I have a decimal meter too, and me and the officer walked to that call, the roundabout, and Friday night when he left, it was at 53.3, and he seen it, and his was the same, and that's why he left. So it's not that we're being unfriendly. We are working with the police every time they come. We're not being disrespectful to them. We're working, we tell the band to turn down what they can, and where it needs to be for the police to leave. Otherwise, like they said every time, if it's not where we need it to be, we're gonna just walk over and unplug it. They have not done that, so we must be doing something right. I wish I had my phone, cause I have taken screenshots of every decimal meter every time they've came and when they left, is because we've been below the 55 as they asked, as required. And again, I think the pavilion was gonna be, you know, a huge savior for everybody, especially with Mark's plan with the sound barrier that is, I believe it's able to go up and down, providing what we have. We don't want everything enclosed when we're not having music or any venue in that matter to where people can walk around the whole thing and then through it. For, you know, kids play, and we have a lot of kids games they play during the day, and they can be out of the sun. We have a lot of cornhole that people play, so the sound barriers would be something we could put up and take down, so it wouldn't be everybody looking at a wall the whole time. So I think it'd just be aesthetically pleasing to everybody. But just for the police thing, we have worked with them every time.
Any
Well, the
other-
citations came prior to them explaining everything. It took them a while to actually get to the bottom of everything. So it wasn't that the citations, yes, they say we have gotten 3 citations. That was 3 weeks ago. We have not gotten one in the mail yet. I spoke to the police chief yesterday why we haven't received the citations. He says they're in the mail. It's been 3 weeks, you know, so we may have gotten citations, but it was because it was repeated calls and he had to do what he has a job too, I get it. But we're under the decibel mark and that's the main thing here.
We haven't got any new ones.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the last question that was addressed was just saying the noise going towards the north versus the noise going towards the east. The reason we didn't feel a hard structural wall towards the east is necessary is our building is between the proposed pavilion and neighbors to the east. It would not be hard to add an additional wall if we found that it was still letting too much noise out. I don't think it will be necessary, but it wouldn't be a big problem if we had to add 8 or 10 feet of structural wall instead.
When you say the wall, though, now these are not permanent walls.
So the backstop wall we've talked about as being permanent.
Okay, got it.
That one is permanent. Right now, as I think one of us pointed out, it's metal, and we plan on putting insulation kind of behind it so that it would be sound deadening also.
Okay, all right.
I've proposed putting up curtains essentially to deaden the noise, and then additional curtains the rest of the way when we want it to help keep wind out, to help keep warmth in. But if we had to add additional structural wall,
Please, could you, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you either,
fine.
but I have a hearing problem too with tinnitus, and so when you whisper in that, it's really hard to hear everybody talking when there's talking in the audience, so.
just to answer your question, yes, there's some stick-built structural wall that would be there, some curtain, but it wouldn't be a hard thing if to add an additional stick-built wall enclosing some portion if we found that it was still loud. Louder than acceptable. I think to expect that we are going to be whisper quiet is not feasible. But we are striving to consistently be under the noise regulations every, all the time, all day.
Was it colder Saturday?
Yeah,
It was very cold Saturday.
yeah.
I'm not a scientist, and I know when there's more people, less people, depending on the weather, that sort of thing, whether you have sides up, sides down, if you put some soundproofing in there, in the roof, in the sides, it will help with the noise that carries, with the sound that carries.
I would expect
And if
so.
you get the decibel meters and you put that burden on your bands, like they've done at Hoozles, that will all make a difference. And I just wanna say we have other establishments in the town as well, and I understand their concerns, but, it's all something that needs to be considered, and sound carries, sound waves carry. I'm not a scientist, I was never good in science class, but sound waves carry depending on the temperature, number of people in the area, so that's also something, but I think aesthetically, I would rather look at a structure rather than a tent going up and down, and I think you.
Do you have a question?
No.
Okay.
I'm just making a statement.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank
The question
you.
would be that, the size of the building, you're looking at 2,100 square feet, you're talking about a gravel surface, and you do have I'm still making, sorry. My question was in there, but I lost it.
To answer your question,
Okay.
yes, all those facts sound correct.
Pardon?
To answer your question, yes, that all sounds correct for what we're looking at.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Otherwise, I'll sit.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. I think I lost my agenda someplace. Oh, wait, here it is.
I can't hear, and I have thought for my question.
Okay, find your choo-choo. All right, the next item on the agenda, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 518 Feather Trail owned by Lisa Parkinson Rose, also described as Lot 26 of Hawks Head addition to Lake Arrowhead, located in the southeast 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 27, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-031-280000. Okay.
So Lisa Parkinson Rose has submitted a short-term rental license application and conditional use permit for the property located at 518 Feather Trail, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 16 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. The Plan Commission places conditions on conditional use permits issued to short-term rentals that sets the maximum occupancy and maximum number of vehicles allowed on the property. Based on the standards found in Town Code, Chapter 234-61, staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 5, maximum vehicles of 3 to be parked on hard surfaces, not on the long grass at the property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including a property manager within 25 miles of the and on record with the town.
Any question? Well, I know no one is here, but she can be available by phone if anyone had any questions with regard to this property. And I do. Yeah. She's gonna call her. Unless, is there anyone here that wants to address this particular property?
Nicole McMullen.
That was my question.
Yeah, I don't have another number.
That was the 408-896 number? Listed under Parkinson-Rose?
It's the property manager that I was calling.
Oh,
That she
okay.
said she would be available via phone.
I would like to move this to next month's agenda because we were unable to contact property manager.
We're still just in public hearing.
Yeah, we're.
Gotta do that.
Gotta wait.
I'll do that. Okay, I'll do it later then.
Here that's for or against it, maybe at least.
This one was for her.
There's no one that wants to comment from the public.
Do you want me to call this one? This is the second number.
Oh, sure,
We can try that.
if we can try.
Sorry, you can just say yes.
He's got a big desk.
Hello, this is Heidi.
Heidi,
That's her mom, the property manager's mom.
okay.
Hello?
Hi Heidi, this is Diana Dilge from the Plan Commission for the Town of Rome
Yes,
regarding the property on Feather Trail.
yes.
I did have a couple of questions with regard to your property, and number one is the property manager situation here.
Yes.
I was a bit concerned with regard to the availability of the property manager, and basically because there was no one that was able to be at the meeting tonight, number one. And number two, if there are issues and things, are you a 24/7 operation?
Yes, we are. And the reason we could not be is Nicole McMullen, who is the plaint on this house, She had an accident this morning, and she's 7 months pregnant and had to be admitted into ER to monitor the baby.
Okay.
So I apologize for not being able to attend the meeting.
I hope everything is okay.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay,
Baby
good.
and Mama are okay.
Good, good.
We're watching it.
So then you would be the secondary contact if she were unavailable, like when she delivers her baby. Okay. And it is 24/7, and you're here locally?
Yes,
Within the
we're on
25
10
mile?
Avenue.
10 Mile Avenue, okay. Are they going to be,
We've, just to give you a little background on the property, I am a realtor. I sold Lisa Rose the house back in 2023 or 2022. And we have been helping her with that house since day one, because she lives in Idaho. We take care of that house like it's our own. Just so you know, we know all the neighbors. They're actually wonderful, wonderful people. We do everything we can to keep that place spick and span and tip top. We treat it like our own home. So I wouldn't worry. This isn't being set up to cause any problems in that neighborhood. It is a very quiet neighborhood, and we want to keep it that way.
you said she lives in Idaho, Lisa?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the applicant shows San Jose, California.
She did recently move.
Does she need to update that with?
I apologize.
Okay, that does need,
She just closed. Yeah, she closed on her home in California. Sold that here at the beginning of May. So I apologize for not having that application updated. I can get that for you.
okay, yes, I think you would have to let
It's been a
Taylor,
little while since they initially.
that was March, yeah.
applied, yeah, it was
Okay.
in March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the driveway, there's two driveways there, one to that garage.
Correct.
And then one that's more towards the front entrance to the house.
Correct.
And both of those driveways would be available for your short-term rentals?
Yeah, I mean, they're both cleaned. Currently, we have caddies staying there, so they are they're a 7-month lease in there, and they are using both driveways.
Okay. I went past there today, and it looks like the driveways have quite a bit of grass in there, and I think it might be considered a hard surface. I'm not real sure, but
Are you talking about the one that's not to the garage, but to the other one?
Well,
Just the off.
both appeared to be
They should be.
about the same. Okay.
I was just there. So,
Well, I think that my main concern was the availability of the property manager. And who is going to be, are they going to be provided both your number and Lisa's number then? Or,
yes.
so there will be two numbers?
Right, and we prefer to be the first point of contact because Lisa is not always available. And we're available 24/7.
Okay. All right. I think that was my only, does anyone else have any other questions? Any other commissioners? Okay. Well, thank you very much and wish our best to your daughter.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little unnerving.
Yes.
But I appreciate you calling us instead of expecting us to be there. It's been a day.
I bet. Well, thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, onward. Consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 987 Wellington Court, owned by Paradise Cove LLC, also described as Lot 63 of Wellington addition to Lake Camelot, located in the southwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, Section 10, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-067070000.
Thank you. So Jake Parr, doing business as Paradise Cove LLC, has submitted a short-term rental license application and conditional use permit for the property located at 987 Wellington Court, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 16 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 8, maximum vehicles of 4 to be parked on hard surfaces, not on the long grass of the property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including a property manager within 25 miles on record with the town.
All right, do we have any questions? Is there's someone here? Okay. Name and name.
Jake Parr.
Okay.
And our address here is 953 County Road D.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Can you give us any insight into everything? Property?
No, we
who's
purchased a property here about 3 years ago, the 953 County Road D. We live in Green Bay. I'm from La Crosse. It's a great place for our families to kind of connect, and we just love the community, and that's why we purchased another lake property here.
So are you going to manage it yourself?
Yes,
or-
ma'am.
Okay, and you will be here all the time, 24/7, 365, or whenever you're renting it out?
We can be, yeah. We're not here, I mean, we're in Green Bay, but we're here pretty much every week, every weekend. I work remotely from home, so if we need to find a different property manager, we can.
In order to be consistent, we've been asking anybody that's doing the property management on their own that they do have a backup for when they're not in the area.
Oh, okay, then we can definitely have a
Because
backup.
otherwise, you're not meeting the requirement of being within 25 miles.
Gotcha.
And we would probably put that as a condition on the,
Yes.
on the findings of fact.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Weren't we just read that he did have a property manager, and he met all the criterias?
Well, we own a home here as well, but our primary residence is in Green Bay.
He has a place on 953 County Road D.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the place on County Road D is within 25 miles, so when they're here at that property.
To answer the question, the property, that, the address that they gave us and put on file was at that address, so it was within that. Now we're
Thank you.
hearing that, and so the backup would be the condition to put into insurance.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's 1.5 baths, a full and a half.
Yes.
And it says limited on the sheet, and I don't understand what the limited term is.
I don't know either.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a full half bath powder room. There's a toilet, sink. We're also putting another bathroom, we would put in for a permit
Permit?
for it, yep, but upstairs as well.
Okay.
Oh, you're questioning how I put limited on there?
Was that you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm the one that calculated it, and so it's just, it goes down to how many people, it goes off of square footage, and then it's further limited by bathrooms, cause you're only allowed
Oh,
to have
you're right, yeah.
4 people per bathroom, so with
Mhm.
2 bathrooms, they're allowed to have 8 people. So that's why if you have more square footage, it can be limited by bathrooms still. So that's what the limited part on there meant.
So a powder room is considered a full, a 4
In
per,
our state code, or in our town code, it just says that want a bathroom, it doesn't specify
A full-
half.
okay, how many piece bathroom it is, okay. Okay, are there any questions from the public with regard to this property? Yes, please come to the very close talking microphone.
Yes, Cindy Lewis, 991 Wellington Court. Nice to meet you, Jake. I guess we're neighbors. And because we've been seasonal residents here since 1989, and then we became permanent residents when we built a home, 2018. So I'm just kind of have some questions on the conditional permits because the short-term rentals are new or up here. So when it says consideration for the use permit, that means that they have to get that permit before they can rent it out, correct? So it has to be approved by the town?
Yes.
Okay, that was my first question. And then the second is, Jake is here, but who do we contact as a neighbor if there was a, like, how would we know who to contact if we have a rental nearby?
The letters that were sent to you would have come with a document that said the host compliance phone number. It's a 24/7 hotline that you
It
can
is,
call
okay.
or email.
So here, right here, the
Yep,
hotline.
that's the one.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I just have a real quick question. I don't know if someone here can answer, like, when you have Paradise Cove LLC, some of these LLCs that are buying up these homes, is it the realtors that are contacting the LLCs? Are the LLCs? I'm just kind of curious on the LLCs that are something new, at least that I'm aware of and we are aware of in our neighborhood, and as...
Well, I don't know if we would have that, this committee would have
Okay.
that kind of an answer for you, but Jason,
So I can talk to Jason?
yes, he could be able to give you any insight that he possibly
Okay.
could.
I would say generally, we have a lot of renters that own that property and they will form an LLC for purposes of the short-term rental license.
Okay.
And so if you do verify that with Wisconsin DFI, you may see that property owner in fact is the LLC because of the operation as the short-term rental.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because now it's in my neighborhood. I'm just curious to see how it's come about. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any question? Did I ask you guys if you had any questions? And ladies, I'm sorry. I don't know. All of us? Anybody? Okay. Then, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1444 Sawgrass Drive, owned by Triple EEE Homes LLC, also described as Lot 73 of Sawgrass addition to Lake Arrowhead, located in the southwest 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 13, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-04152-0503.
Shannon Meadow and Troy Zupanek, doing business as Triple EEE Homes LLC, have submitted a short-term rental license application and conditional use permit for the property located at 1444 Sawgrass Drive, requesting use for the 2023-2024 season that ends June 30th, 2024. Letters were sent to 10 property owners within the 200 feet of the affected property. Staff recommends a maximum occupancy of 11, maximum vehicles of 5 to be parked on hard surfaces, not on the long grass of the property. The applicant has completed all license requirements, including a property manager within 25 miles on record with the town.
Do I have any questions? Is there someone here representing the property?
I didn't get notification that there wouldn't be anyone here.
You got no notification. No one's here.
They would have gotten a letter, so I'm not sure.
Do I have any questions from any of the commissioners for this property owner? Okay. Anyone? Would anyone like to make a statement or anything with regard to this property during this well, I'm thinking,
It's a public hearing if somebody has something to say.
sure. Does anyone have any comments or? Yes, Riley.
Riley McCormick, 1445 Sawgrass Drive, Nakusa. I'm here to just urge you to make sure that there's a property manager. We have had 2 years of enduring the building process. It's been a long process. I finally walked across the street and introduced myself because I thought wasn't going to get any. I didn't know who the owner was, but I thought I'd better find out. For example, trash cans have been there, delivered and laying in the driveway. Excuse me, laying in the driveway.
Just a second, Riley. Nicole?
That was the original property manager.
Oh.
That's the mom.
Should I answer it or just let it go? Okay.
During the building process, there is no outhouse, that type of thing. They live in Marshfield, and at least, and there doesn't seem to be anybody near, and so I think that's a concern for all of our neighbors. And at least that's been my experience. So I would urge you to make sure that they have a 24/7 person. I'm nervous about that.
Thank you. Anyone else have any? Yes, please.
Name is David Hinsey. 1441 Sawgrass Drive. I'm also a member on the Lake Arrowhead maintenance staff, so I've seen a lot of other rental properties.
I'm sorry, what staff?
What staff?
Lake Arrowhead Golf Course maintenance staff.
Maintenance.
Staff.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't hear it either. Oh, good. And I don't hear it.
I'm sorry. As for garbage cans, they were delivered last week, Tuesday or Wednesday. They're still there on the road, laying down. I have a picture of them on my phone if you want to see them.
No, I have it. Thank you.
Okay. There's also another rental property on Pinehurst that puts their garbage out, and it's out there for 2 weeks, the cans. And this past week, the wind blew them over, and there was garbage blowing all over the place. Is that an offense that I can call?
Yes.
So we can call on that?
I believe so.
You can call that number.
Call that number.
Yes, you can.
Perfect.
And they
That same rental place had 12 to 16 guys putting on our green yesterday.
You can call that number.
Call that number.
Turn that address in.
Well, I would call Lake Arrowhead.
Well, like I did call the pro shop.
I would call
They
the pro
came
shop.
out and they were gonna charge a round for each guy that was out there.
Yes,
to
but
the
they still
homeowner.
report it to that number, because if they get a complaint at that number,
Okay.
and they get so many complaints, then we pull their short-term rental license, and then it'll be a while before is that not correct? Please,
Yeah.
if you would explain that.
Right, I mean, so probably a good idea to contact Lake Arrowhead, but certainly you can contact.
I
the
did
number
call
so we
Joel,
have-
talk
so
to
we have
Joel
doc-
about it, and
But what I'm
So we
saying
have
is the next
documentation
step,
of a
so we have.
verified complaint.
Yes, we need documentation of a verified complaint, because then that goes into our process of our short-term rental license renewal.
okay.
And then that would affect them if they want to continue with a short-term rental
Okay.
process.
Perfect.
So
This is what I've seen since I've worked here. I've been here for 4 years. Last year we had UTVs driving on our course. Cans and garbage every morning on greens where the rental units are. I mentioned the putting and chipping. One time I changed the pins on the course. I found some dog dew on a hole where a rental property was. Is this owner local? That's what I would like to know. What I never heard, I looked up this Triple E LLC. I saw a Pennsylvania address.
Their mailing address is Marshfield, but their property manager
Another thing that I've seen is, at these rental places, vehicles parking on the street. There's more than, you're saying that 5 cars are allowed on this property? So if I see more than 5 cars, I can call that in?
Yeah, you can call the host compliance number.
Okay, all right.
There's a website too.
Yep, I have it
Yep.
here. All right, that's my concerns.
It's the only way we can get a record of
Like-
those complaints, and if they, again, if they get so many complaints,
Right.
then that is how we can pull their license, and they
Okay.
wouldn't be able to continue in the program.
All right,
It's the best way to handle it.
okay. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
haven't-
fine, please, I mean.
This place, there's no landscaping. I don't know if you've driven by it. There are driveways in, but there's no grass.
Well, that's
You're not
not,
required to have landscaping at your home.
There's,
that's.
check with Lake Arrowhead Covenants and talk to the
talk to the
association.
Talk to them?
association.
Okay.
That's beyond our,
That's, okay. All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Oh, we've got another question. Pam?
Yes. Patty, please state your name.
Patty, please state your name, we don't know who you are.
Patty
Your
Beck,
address.
Patty Beck, 1450 Sawgrass Drive. I just want to be clear and understand this host compliance. What I'm reading here says that if the complaint is not an immediate safety issue, like the fact that there may be too many cars parked in the driveway, that doesn't count towards the 3 violation limit. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
So there's a way of documenting that. So the emergent ones will, as I understand it, be forwarded to the police department, perhaps the property owner, or manager, whichever they have. The non-emergent ones are documented, okay, but they're not necessarily sent to the police department right away for a follow-up. I think that, my recollection is the host compliance then will notify the property manager or owner, depending on which is on file, of the concern and allow for correction.
So in other words, nuisance complaints don't count towards a violation.
So nuisance is broad, right? Are you talking about nuisance like noise, nuisance like junk and debris, or what?
Like what Mr. Hinsey referenced. Too many cars, garbage outside on the golf course, dogs owned by property owners that are maybe being walked out on the golf course and allowed to defecate and not get cleaned up. Nuisance items.
Okay, so certainly those all would be things that I would suspect are very important concerns for the Lake Arrowhead Property Owners Association. Some of those things may be relevant and would be documented and on file for short-term rental, but again, not all of those things.
Okay.
So then, is it incorrect that if they get more than a certain number of violations, they?
Our ordinance is clear on verified complaints and our documentation
That's what I
process.
thought.
Yes. But
Okay.
I think I'm being asked something
A
a little
different,
broader than that.
thank you.
And it does say when a resident contacts host compliance through the 24/7 hotline, the emergency contact for the short-term rental in question will be contacted and given an opportunity to resolve the issue. If they are unable to resolve the issue in a timely manner, host compliance will escalate the issue to the appropriate agency, whether that is law enforcement or zoning department, etc.
All right. It does clearly state, though, non-emergent items such as this, like higher than allowed number of vehicles, does not count against the property's limit of 3 violations in 12-month period for revocation of license. That's all I have.
Thank you, Patty. Any questions? Never mind. We don't have anyone to ask a question of, so we'll just leave it there. Will anyone else? Okay, on to the next item, G, consideration of proposed amendment to Chapter 360 zoning, Article 12, Lake District 360-62D, other requirements, maximum sidewall height, and for detached accessory structures.
At the May 14th, 2024 Plan Commission meeting, the commission reviewed past and current ordinance requirements related to accessory structures in the Lake District and discussed potential alternate height limitations for accessory structures. As a summary, in October 2018, the Town of Rome amended then Ordinance 10.11 relating to accessory structure maximum sidewall height in the Lake District. Prior to the amendment, the maximum sidewall height for the detached accessory structures was limited to a maximum of 10 feet. Eliminating that language allowed for accessory buildings that have a maximum height of 35 feet. After reviewing the aforementioned information, the Plan Commission referred this item to the June Plan Commission meeting with direction to include a maximum sidewall height for detached accessory structures not to exceed 16 feet. Included in your packets is a proposed amendment to the Town Code, Section 360-62D6, reflecting the 16-foot maximum sidewall height for detached accessory structures in the Lake District.
Is there anyone here that wants to discuss or have questions regarding this proposal? Any questions from the commissioners? Okay. I think I can close the public hearing with a motion. A motion.
I'll move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion's been made to close the public hearing by Bill, seconded by Jerry. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The minutes from the last meeting, do I have a motion to accept or?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the Tuesday, May 14th meeting,
Second.
2024.
Madam Chair, who would make the second?
The second was
I
made
did.
by Jerry. Oh,
They were
next time.
simultaneous.
It was a tie.
Well, it was a tie.
Jerry, you won that one.
Whatever, you can have it.
Okay, so the minutes are approved.
You have a motion and a second. Did you take a vote?
Oh, no, I didn't. Do I have to do that too? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item number 10, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of a final plat for Sedge Village North to be located on a 38.03 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, described as follows: Lot 1 and 2, Sedge Village, document number 572728, and part of the southwest 1/4 and northwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 and part of the northwest 1/4 of the southeast 1/4, section 26, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. Do I have a
Motion to
motion?
approve the consideration, motion to approve recommendation to the town board for consideration of a final plat for Sedge Village North to be located on the 38.3 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC.
I'll second.
Motion made by Lori to make the recommendation to the town board regarding the final plat for Sedge Village, seconded by Bill. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 11, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of a Rome Town Center District map amendment from mixed commercial light industrial subdistrict to mixed town center subdistrict for a 10-acre portion of town-owned property within Rome Town Center, described as follows: being part of parcel number 0300113600501, located in part of the northwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, and northeast 1/4, northwest 1/4 of section 17, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin.
Motion to recommend to the town board consideration of Rome Town Center District map amendment from mixed commercial light industrial subdistrict to mixed town center subdistrict for a 10-acre portion of the town owned property within the Rome Town Center.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. This was approved by the town board, but it was approved on a split vote of 3-2, just so the other plan commission members realize that. It was not a unanimous decision. I'm not opposed to the project at all, but if we look at the town center map currently, we have property available for this project. Why would we go into industrial property when we have the green area already? And if we do reclassify this section here, we are left with a sliver of industrial property between the proposed container development and Palmar, I don't know if I have the name right,
Permar.
the business that's been here
Permar,
forever.
Permar.
Having a sliver left between those two, if we want to have a discussion about rezoning everything from this street forward to green, we should have that discussion. But to pull the section out of the only industrial property we currently have in the Rome Town Center, I'm not in favor of it. I think there needs to be more discussion about this whole square, possibly everything forward from that square, because what business is gonna take a small sliver of industrial property that we have left?
I agree. We should defer this until we can look at the whole classification of the town center.
This was done by several of the plan commission members that are here back in 2023, the redistricting of this. And now we're gonna redistrict it again 14 months later. Let's talk about the whole project. We just had the consultant come in and told us we have a lot of sub-districts. Maybe it's time to merge some of them. But to pull one section out of an industrial section, which we don't have much of that property left in this town, I don't think is a wise decision at this point until we can have further discussion on that whole section.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just for clarity, because I was a part of drawing of the maps that you have here, and just to reference that, that strip that Commissioner Gabriel is referencing and concerned about, just to note that
Not that
that
small.
has a ownership of Marson Incorporated. That was why this was drawn that way. There isn't a strip that's left. It's,
No.
according to the district, the map, it's, I don't know what, I can't speak because I don't have controls over that map. I just put all I did was put a square over that. But if you look at the GIS map, that GIS map has a parcel, the parcel that I think you're concerned about, Commissioner Gabriel, is 0300113605888, which is just to the north of that. It is a 5-acre parcel. It's that strip. I don't know why it's not reflected on there, but on the county's map, it's Marson. I think had it been owned by the town, we would have had a conversation about abutting it up against that. But it's a valid concern. I don't know the answer to why that map doesn't show it.
So who owns that?
Shows it as Marson Incorporated.
It's been owned by Marston since I've been here.
It belongs to the
2004.
Marks
And that's
family.
588, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
It belongs to the
So,
Marks family.
valid point, but it's not our property.
Okay, my other valid point would be, we currently have zoning that's not bought up yet for a project like this. Why are we going into this limited industrial zoning that we have in this town? We are in the growing phase right now. We get rid of the industrial zoning stuff, we may not get the business that we're all looking for to come in another year, 2 years, or 3 years. And if we're gonna pull this out to the green section, then maybe it's time to have a conversation of just making it all green. Because now we're left with a T-shaped piece of property that's industrial.
It's not a T shape. It belongs to Marson and Marks, and I would like to speak to that because we did have this conversation with our consultant, and he made that presentation, which most of us were here for. This is for mixed housing. We have not, as long as we've had this business park, we've had no one bang down our door for like commercial industrial. They've only banged down our door for storage units, which are two nonprofits. And so the interesting thing is that we do have people knocking on our door now for housing. This is a resort piece of property. Previous plan commissioners here and board members added to, it was originally 20%, then 30%, then 40% to allow for a building that was previously retail, to allow for a similar type establishment over here on the main square. There are apartment buildings over there already. This area is for density and for types of mixed housing for walkability. This fits in an industrial area, in a rustic area with similar type housing. So when we want to talk about reclassifying zoning, did we not do the same type of thing for your type of business, which was not a permitted use in 2017?
And I was the first guinea pig to go in that park. I bought.
Just saying.
Hold on, let
Okay,
me say now.
wait a minute, I'm gonna have to just ask for everybody to calm down a little bit here.
And what I was sold on by the town of Rome was this walkable business community. Since then, the Plan Commission and the town board have rezoned and reclassification, have reclassified the sub-districts numerous times. This map came before the Plan Commission, I believe, in March of 2023. If it was gonna be reclassified, that would have been the appropriate time to do it. My point today is, I'm not talking about the project. My point today is, there is currently property available for this. Why are we going to reclassify a section of property? If we're gonna reclassify it, then why don't we reclassify, if this is already bought, the last little bitty strip back here? If we're gonna do that, then just make it all green. That is my point. I'm not talking about the crate house or anything like that. But before we start pulling sections out of here and there, maybe this group should have another talk about this entire map now that we got this study that was just paid for and brought to us a month ago.
Business begats business, Tom, and we don't wanna, this woman who wants to buy this property, believes in the Rome Town Center. Small business begats small business. And we didn't discourage you, we didn't discourage Rome away from home, we changed it for them, and we allowed them. This is for housing right here. That's why we had that conversation with our specialist, our advisor. This can stay industrial here, this strip can stay industrial. Her resort fits within the industrial area,
It also fits within the mixed town center, which is currently green. And if we're gonna make that section of the property green, why not just include the rest of the property in green? And at that point, there's only 3 properties left up front. Let's just reclassify it as mixed town center, is my point. Currently, if she was buying property right here, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because we're not talking about the project, we're just talking about reclassification of a sub-district. That is my only point. Sub-district green, which is what we want to turn this into, is currently available.
Hey, Nick, can I ask a question after your question?
Okay.
May I ask a question to you?
You have to ask the chair, really.
May I?
Sure.
Okay. Well, just on your point, are you totally locked in on that piece of property, or are you open?
I was drawn to that area because I felt it fit the project the best. I really don't want to be next to a mid-rise or a lot of traffic, or let's just say that there's something that's going to happen in that area with housing. How much noise is that going to create? Am I going to be able to even house people when all this building is going to be going on? I mean, I want it to be outside of Rome because it gives that vibe, but I want it to be walkable. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, that's why I want it to be there. Now, if you can say that I'm gonna have the privacy and the lack of noise, I would say, for my guests, and I can have that same experience, I would be possibly open to it, but I think that that's why I picked that area, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you looked at other properties,
Yeah.
but you kind of locked in
Yeah,
on this
I
one
did.
for
I
your
mean,
use.
yeah, potentially. I mean, it might be nice to be actually across the street from the brewery, but again, I think we have the same type of vibe and the same kind of clientele. However, music, you know, the closer I get to the town square, I mean, I love the fact that there's gonna be markets and entertainment and things like that, but are my guests gonna want that? You know, just some of these things that these other Airbnbs and neighborhoods are talking about.
And how would you feel about a manufacturing facility though, moving in behind you?
Obviously, that's why I wanted to have the opportunity to have the right of first refusal on the property behind us. So,
I think it's rather ironic that this is just the opposite of what we're hearing in the previous couple of meetings we've been having regarding a campground in a residential area. And you
Yes.
don't want a campground in a because they're gonna be too noisy for you.
well, I mean, it's just a different experience.
ironic.
I don't want people coming here and, yeah, I'm in a neighborhood. I mean, that's not the vibe I'm going for.
And that's not a town center, this is a town center, you wanna be able to walk to coffee, you wanna walk
Yeah,
to breakfast, you want a
exactly.
day drive to,
Yes,
but
that-
back to the original discussion, and rather than it being heated, the whole concept of the overall Rome Town Center district is, when we had the specialists come in and talk to us about the land use and community development, the whole concept behind the acreage we have left here for housing is middle housing and the type of housing, 0 lot lines, smaller building envelopes, be it duplexes, be it townhomes, be it small, single-family homes, 70, to
Yeah,
800.
he was talking density. I'm looking at
Density, you're looking, but we're talking, that's why we told you 10 acres, but we settled on six
Six homes,
properties,
yeah.
when you originally wanted 1
8.
per acre.
Yeah, well, no,
So,
I wanted
and
about 8. So
8.
yeah, I had included that other little in that other little square on that map was the extra 5 that we would be looking at for potential.
Right, so there was an overall concept for resort development within the Rome Town Center district, which led to the concept of reclassifying.
Correct.
Do you have a question for Amy, Bill,
Well, I have
or
a
no?
statement that one of the items under Mixed Town Center Subdistrict is smaller residential design compatible with the character of Rome Town Center and housing graded community, but it also says that there will not be more than 40% of the mixed use allowed for lodging or facilities. That's the problem we ran into when Rome Away from Home came there. So making it all under that category doesn't accomplish a thing, in my opinion.
And that was changed from 20 to 30,
So,
then to 40.
And all we're doing is holding up someone that wants to open up a new business.
Would there
Gets more business.
be an
But
option?
I do agree that we should be reviewing the entire plan again.
But for this, well, okay,
Conditions that we're having.
would there be another option rather than changing the classification of this sub-district to just adding a principal use? Lodging?
That's another way of doing it.
Right, I was
Wouldn't
saying
that be pretty, you had mentioned
I
that
said that
earlier.
earlier. Sure.
So rather than doing a total reclassification of a sub-district, why don't we just add lodging as a principal use?
That's what's on the agenda tonight, and this, she bought the land and we need to move forward, so we're complicating the issue by, and slowing our project down, are we not?
I think a
I'm not
reclass,
commenting to that, I'm saying that it is an option, and as I said earlier, this approach was one that doesn't just add permitted uses to
Right.
the district. We've done that before. I think that was stated here earlier today.
We added permitted uses.
and, you know, when we look at, when the zoning things were changed, Jerry, before with regard to that antenna issue that we had and the barbed wire, rather than changing the whole zoning, and they, you know, and I don't wanna really change zoning, you go through all that trouble and change it, but if we could just put another permitted use into something,
Just to,
Wait a minute,
that is changing zoning.
well, I mean, it's, but it's not changing the classification of it, though.
Simply adding a permitted use.
Right, we can do that.
Right, but Nick, that's what
Either
you
way,
kind
we're
of
gonna do
suggested,
it.
is that that's kind of the easiest way to get here, correct?
Well, this,
Mixed use?
this, from a planning perspective, if this is if this is deemed appropriate, this is the better way of doing it, only because you're not opening up all your industrial use to lodging facilities.
Right.
Just stating
Exactly.
that point.
But it's something you thought about.
Following
lot of
this,
thought.
yes.
So, do you have a recommendation to us or a preference as far as what would be,
I
so
have no
that she can,
recommendation. No, so you have a motion and a second on the floor.
I'm not saying a word, I'm not
Good.
saying a word.
If you want this project to move forward, the easiest way to do it at this point in time is to do the reclassification as we
To
have on the
mixed.
agenda.
to mixed?
If you don't do it that way, there's gonna be public hearings if we do a rezoning. And that really will slow things down.
What,
Is that right?
and this still stays light industrial, mixed commercial, in case some industry says, oh yeah, we wanna be here, you don't have light rail, you don't have interstate, but yes, we wanna have industry here. We've got jobs for you other than tourism, I'm just being sarcastic, sorry, can't help myself. I'm sorry, I just, it's something I tell everybody, please, let's not do it, but we do it anyway. This is the easiest route to take to allow this person that wants a business here.
If we go and continue this discussion to redo the entire thing though, how much of a delay would that be for,
As I said earlier, the CDA has plans, as I understand it, to work with the consultant to make some recommendations that stem from what was presented at that joint meeting. So,
Or special meeting,
Well,
yeah, it was.
I guess it was a special.
We
meeting with
invited
the
others
CDA.
to come.
So yeah, it may take some time if you're going to put the whole plan together, and have the consultant work through that and make the recommendation. If you're simply going to instead plug in a different use or take some different approach, well, it just depends. It's a matter of months versus maybe quarters.
So in other words, what you're saying is adding another category to this might take a couple months.
You're saying, adding a category, you mean adding a use as a permitted use to the industrial?
Right.
And that mixed commercial industrial? Well, that would take noticing and having another public hearing, making a recommendation to the town board. It's just
That's
adding,
a long road.
it's a similar process to what I
5
put in
weeks.
place right now.
Question to you is, how are you on timing? I mean, does 5 weeks work for you, or is this something you wanna start yesterday? Be
Well,
open because we have to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I'm not making appointments for getting the survey done. I'm not pursuing a lot of things that I'm going to need to do without knowing this. I mean, let's say you say no to this and I need to move over there, then all my setbacks are different. I mean, you might change the number
But I
I
mean,
could
could
put.
you wait 5 weeks or not? I mean, we're trying to work with you too.
No,
That's
I
it.
agree, but I think
I'm trying to get
everything,
your opinion.
I already think that Attorney Nicholas has said that everything that has already been done would be duplicated doing the same thing that we're doing now. For 5 weeks. We're talking to the same committee members, the same people have been notified. We're just rehashing and redoing everything for a simple change of whatever purpose. And I've been in discussion with him, and this is how he thought that this matched, and also working with,
It's already been through us once, it's been through the
Plus-
CDA, the land, and the board approved it, and
If you
The
add
board-
that as a permitted use, you are permitting that by right in your industrial district. It's a different, it's understand what you're doing there. It's a little bit different than what we're doing here right now, which is to walk this through and make sure that it's right. I mean, again, if you wanna add that as a permitted use, I might be suggesting that you do it as a conditional use at least. But, you're saying it's a permitted use by right in the industrial district, all of that property. Again, this was recommended for that reason. I'm not sure that you wanted to open that up in that way.
what would be the benefit, truly a benefit of changing everything to green and revisiting this whole thing right now? Is that something we can put on a future agenda to take care of? But for now, allow this to happen? Put it on a future agenda, we look at the whole thing.
Well, CDA is gonna be.
My opinion
COD, oh.
would be no. I think we should deal with this before we sell off 10 acres. That's my honest opinion. Now, she keeps saying the board approved it. The board approved it on a 3-2 vote. That's one person basically approved this project. And for the sale of the land, it was a 3-2 vote at the board meeting. So it wasn't a unanimous board decision to move this project full speed ahead. Okay? I think that we can't do it now because it's not on the agenda. The only thing that's on the agenda is this one piece of property. We don't know what's gonna walk in our door next week for industry. So, this was supposed to be a business park. And every time I turn around, it's becoming a residential housing park. If we're gonna make it residential housing, or lodging, or short-term partners, then let the town divide this into properties and let's sell them off for some money, what they're getting for these lots around these lakes. We're giving this property away, and we're leaving a small section of industrial property left. We keep shoving the industry further and further back. We keep putting more and more housing or lodging into this project. I think we need to have, and this was updated in 2023. It's not like we're operating on a map that was done in 2018. This map was just updated. This is what the town board and the last plan commission wanted.
Can you
So you
please
have a first and a
clarify, did
second.
we
If you wanna go
update-
for the
I want
vote, go for the vote.
clarification. We did not, what did we update in 2023? I would really like a clarification. What we updated in 2023.
I don't know what
What he's
Commissioner Gabriel is referring to, but
I
if he's
don't-
talking about the work that the subcommittee did after the design plan was done, that was before 2022.
That was in 2019 and 2020, or 2019, was it not? You were on that.
We've
This
made
was
some-
not updated
We've
in,
made some adjustments since then. We talked about those today. Relaxed certain things, but we haven't.
this map was
that
not
map
changed.
was not created in 2023. It was maybe adjusted, in 2023 to reflect certain things.
It does have a revision date of June 15th, 2022 at the bottom.
That's only a date of when it
To
was,
reflect
when you added the
property.
roam
reflect
away
new
from home
sales.
Yeah.
property. That's why that date is on there.
Yeah, it was updated because new property was added. The brewery, there was no redesign. It was only updated because to put the new businesses on there and reflect them.
Right.
Quick Trip was the last one to buy this piece of property when they added it in the back of when they built.
Then in 2019 or 20, this was expanded to include more of the mixed town center use. We used to have commercial A, commercial B, okay. There's a first and a second. I guess we go for the vote. If anybody else has any other comments, I think people know where I stand.
Any more discussion or questions or?
I do think that we need to be friendlier to businesses that are coming into town and it's just,
What about
This is
businesses
the
that
re-
are currently in town?
well, Tom, yes, we do need to be more friendly to businesses that are in town, don't we? We do need to be more friendly to businesses that are in town, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if there's
And
no more discussion or comments or suggestions or recommendations, then there's been a motion and a second. All in favor? And
Let's do a voice vote,
let's
please.
do,
Roll call.
Roll call vote.
Jerry, would you like to start?
No.
Gabriel, no.
Janzik, yes.
Dilgy, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Dalton, yes.
Capel, yes.
The motion passes.
Welcome, Amy. still have a few steps yet, but.
Item 12. Okay, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of the site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC, DBA The Lure Bar and Grill to construct an outdoor event structure at 1735 Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1 of Certified Survey Map 3590, located in part of Government Lot 2, Government Lot 3 in the southeast one quarter, Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with the parcel number of 0300040800010.
Just a reminder that this and the items number 13, 14, and 15 all have findings of fact, if you would please consider that in your motion.
Thank you.
Nick, would you please say that again? I didn't hear it, please.
The next 4 items have findings of fact.
Yes,
Just a
okay, thank
reminder.
you. I'm sorry, I should have asked you for, I didn't hear what he said. Motion to recommend to the town board consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC doing business as the Lure Bar and Grill to construct an outdoor event structure at 1735 Archer Lane.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Lori to recommend the site plan of operation to the town board to construct an outdoor event structure, and a second by Bill. Is there any discussion?
I just have a comment to make.
I'm sorry?
I just have a comment to make.
Oh, yes.
I'm familiar with one other business, not in Rome, but down the road, a little piece that went from a tent to a structure. And having a roof over it that it has sound deadening material has made all the difference in the world of how far that noise travels. So I think that what he's proposing will actually be a benefit than having a tent operation. And I think that the neighborhood would benefit from the structure that he's intending on putting up. And I do believe the wings would help as well.
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
for the minutes and for my information, did that motion and second incorporate the findings of fact?
No, did not.
Well,
To incorporate the, okay, the findings of fact.
And I'll second.
The amendment,
I'll
okay.
amend my motion to include the findings of fact.
Would there be a condition that we would like to place on there to verify the location of any of the soundproof, the solid wall or the wings or?
No, it should, I would say that, oh, I'm sorry, Roy, Paul, I heard Paul start to say something.
I think we should, they've agreed to it essentially right here, and just to say, I think one of the folks out here said that he'd like to see that in it. We can phrase that.
What did it say on their picture? Did they have something on your, can you address it for, can I ask him to
Is that
address it
okay?
for
Sure.
us?
Yeah, okay. So if you look
Please
at,
address it for us on your map, or your
yeah,
drawing.
if you look at the picture of, from Menards, yes, you'll see that the structure has 2 short walls and 2 long walls,
Well,
okay?
this picture here doesn't really show it. Can
Well,
you-
so it's got two short sides and 2 long sides, okay? Well, not open walls, yeah. 2 short sides and 2 long sides. And the wall that we've said would be the backstop behind the band is on one of the short walls, a short side, okay? So what I would be fine with, as we kind of said, is in our drawing, showing the map, it's exactly square to the building. To be better for the neighbors, we'd probably rotate that in that location slightly. So this hard wall, short side backstop would be facing as close to our north and east side as possible. Yeah, we'd be working between our setbacks and where our septic is. But we'd be happy to rotate that, and if you wanna double check it after the fact or anything, I mean, that's fine. If you wanna look and see if we have the wall there on that side, that's fine.
All right, Madam Chair, if I could just.
Yes.
Address. Nick, I'm hoping you got some of that because, wait, Mark, would you be able to, and then I would also like to address in the findings of fact, if I could amend my motion then please, to also confirm the setbacks as, specified in our letter from Ripco and Adams County, that, cause I don't know, we didn't specify from the zoning department those specific setbacks as they were approved in this letter. So I would also like to say that we,
Can I just maybe address that?
oh,
Yeah.
all right, please, if you would.
Yeah.
If it would be helpful.
needs to.
That I maybe address that. I think the concern in the letter was valid, but what was addressed in the letter was incorrect.
Oh,
The-
okay, all right,
The district that, was referenced is, yes, B1.
all
but
right,
They pulled Adams County's general zoning,
okay,
which is not our standards. We
all
don't
right,
have county
okay, so
zoning.
scratch then.
So they would have to abide by our zoning district B1
Okay.
standards. So just to be clear,
Scratch.
it's not that that isn't a concern.
Right.
That I think was addressed here today, you know, when they talked about their updated map and site plan. But the references that Ripco gave in their letter
Okay.
were incorrectly referencing Adams County's B1 district, and we don't have county zoning, we have town
Our
zoning.
own zoning, so we're okay with what they have stated, so I can scratch that, but then going back to what Mark said, you can verbalize that in our findings of fact and,
I can give you my notes from it as I was trying to jot it, subject to your changing. But I have that the hard wall faced to the northeast side, and then I had added maybe to be verified before final issuance of any kind of building permit.
all right,
Yeah,
that
just
sounds,
trying to
is
think
that
of-
is that agreeable with you on your amended second then, Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
So then now this,
Did you get that, is that what you said, Mark?
Mark
He's
was
fine?
Did I get it?
How would you want verification on that of the positioning?
yeah, it would have to be canted then.
It'd be slightly,
It's the orientation of the building.
yeah, it'd be slightly
It's the orientation.
adjusted orientation, it wouldn't be 100% square to the building.
Correct.
To the,
To
to
have
the
the
existing building that you've got off that patio, it would not be square. Now we're canting it northeast.
Rotated slightly to
Okay.
have the best sound protection towards the
Okay.
north and east.
And that is for the property owners that are those north and.
Mostly north, sorry.
Right.
Mostly north, because the building,
The existing building is going to be obstructing much of the sound
Right.
towards the east.
And
Right.
that'll help with the wind that comes off that point then too, cause it gets very windy sometimes,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with the statement that was made that having the roof and the sides,
And the
hard sides
sound.
will make a huge difference for sound that's going towards the north and towards the east. Thank you.
Really appreciate you working with the residents.
What we have submitted before still has a white roof, that's what we're.
And the only reason I asked you that question, Tom, I didn't know if you were bringing it up because of I know how we try to stick with that in the gateway, but that's not in the gateway, so I didn't know if you were trying to match it.
No, I
because of
just,
the building or why that mattered, I didn't know why it mattered at that point.
We would be matching it anyway,
because most
as
roof,
close as possible.
because most roof matches, your accessory buildings normally match your primary roof color. I'm just wondering if we vote on it tonight, are we voting that
Mine
they're
didn't, 'cause
allowed a
I couldn't
white
get the
roof?
same color.
I mean, that's
Should
my,
be matching as close as possible.
yeah, I think the question would be if you want us to have a blue roof that doesn't match, or if we go white. You know, given those two options, I'd probably choose white. So if you wanna specify, that's fine, we don't know exactly what Menards would make available and how close of a color match it is.
So are you suggesting then, Jerry, that we put it in the conditions that, the roof colors match as close as possible? Or,
I guess white could be an option, but, yeah, we'd like to see them as close as possible. I would think they'd have a blue that'd be close to what you have, but
What if you ever need to change the roof on your existing building?
Well,
Right.
most metal roofs last 30+ years.
I hope that's the next owner's problem.
It's a metal roof on there now, so usually the colors stay somewhat consistent between manufacturers.
I don't know, Bill, are you good? Are you?
High noise.
I don't know what they have.
What do you have right now in your main building? What do you have right now in your main building?
The main building is, it used to be wood shingled, and now the main building is, it was redone right before I bought it.
So I'd be willing to amend my motion to include as close as possible to what you currently have.
Just because
But whatever you.
what I'm saying is about as close as possible, because I don't know what company they used, or Tom
Right.
used the old, to buy the material from. So if they went to ABC Supply and bought their blue roof there, and we went to, Menards, the blue might not,
I
I don't wanna say it's not
understand,
gonna
that's
be
why.
dead spot blue. It might be a shade different, but it'll be blue.
Or white.
Or white,
Either
correct.
Close as possible, or white would be.
Yeah.
I would be okay.
I just need to verify the conditions for the finding of fact.
The canting,
What's as close, so if that's going to be a condition, what's as close as possible? Or
To the
white, right? I
existing-
mean, like, how is that call made? I just wanna make sure that
I don't
we are
think we need to
clear in
have a
our
condition,
expectation,
but-
otherwise, I don't know that that helps the.
I don't think
I'm
we need
leaving
to
that
have a
off of my
condition.
motion.
No.
Okay.
Diana doesn't feel it's
I promise
necessary.
we won't choose pink or red.
Yeah, as long as
That
you don't
is
pick
my
lobster orange. I mean, who's gonna be hanging from the roof of their house, looking at the color of your roof? I guess.
well,
I'm
I
sorry,
just don't think it should be a
Yeah,
condition.
I don't know.
You
Bill,
could
what do
have,
think?
you could have blue or white, I mean, if you want to make sure that it's one of
All
those
right,
colors.
blue or white? Blue or white? Does that, what do you think with that, Madam Chair?
It's your motion.
Well, you said you don't think.
What I think is blue or white would be fine.
Well, at this point, I'm just so.
Blue or white is fine if that's how you'd like to add.
That's fine with me. If you wanna make it blue or white, I don't care.
Well, if somebody's gonna go out there with a swatch and we're gonna receive a notice.
I guess I'm gonna leave it up to the.
That's sort of why we're supposed to have color samples when they bring projects before the plan commission, and that's what we're approving.
Tom, Madam Chair, point of order. I'm leaving it off my motion. My motion stands. I think they're business owners and they're old enough to pick their
Second is
color.
in.
Okay, so our motion is,
The motion is to recommend approval to the town board and adopt the findings of fact as presented with the additional condition that, the orientation of the structure be located to have the solid wall to the north and east, to be verified by the building inspector before placement.
and incorporating, yes, the findings of fact. Okay, we have the motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right, discussion and possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental of property located at 518 Feather Trail, owned by Lisa Parkinson Rose, also described as Lot 26 of Hawkshead addition to Lake Arrowhead, located in the southeast 1/4, northeast 1/4, section 27, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 0300312800000. Do I have a motion?
I'll move the item, including the findings of fact as written.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to issue the a conditional use permit be issued for 518 Feather Trail. Motion made by Bill, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? This was 518, right?
518 Feather Trail.
So it's 14, 13.
Madam Chair.
I have a, yes,
I
Jerry.
got a question about this one because there was nobody present to answer any questions. You were talking about,
No, she
No,
came on.
this
the
is
phone.
the one where we had
Her
on the phone.
Came on,
Jerry.
this is where she,
was the one with
in
the
the car
hospital.
accident.
all right.
I guess,
We didn't have any additional issues that we brought up during the discussion.
well, the driveway, I think, is not, it's got that, those little, what is that called, Jerry, the small
Gravel?
pea gravel? What is that? But it's all overgrown with grass. There are no definitive lines on either side of it.
It's still a hard surface, even if it's got grass in it.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah, it needs to be cared for a little bit more. I see
It-
what you're saying.
yes.
I think she
Or
got that
something,
message.
but,
Yep. Pardon me?
I believe the manager got that message.
yeah.
And then just a general note that I did confirm with Taylor that we will get make sure that we have the property manager's information on file.
Right.
So it's very clear that that is our primary contact with any concerns.
Right.
Yes.
And she needs to amend her address because this was done in March and
Correct.
she,
Although, yeah, we're
she moved
coming up to a renewal period anyway, so we'll make sure that. that's
okay,
right.
all right. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose, the short-term rental at the property located at 987 Wellington Court owned by Paradise Cove LLC, also described as Lot 63 of Wellington addition to Lake Camelot, located in the southwest one quarter, northwest one quarter, section 10, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-06707-0000.
Just one, maybe,
Right.
general point, during the public hearing, there was, some discussion about having a backup property manager to be provided and on file with the town for any time that the owner is out of town, so we can make sure that we have one within 25
Right.
miles.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
Um,
you're being called on, manager.
Yes, I'm sorry,
I'll
Bill.
move the item with the findings of fact to incorporate the statement that Mr. Flanagan just made, that there be a manager appointed for when the property owner is not present, if he's going to rent the property.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Bill to,
You need a second.
Glory second. To issue a conditional use permit for the property at 987 Wellington Court with the condition that the owner of the property, who's also the property manager, when he is not within the 25-mile radius, is that correct?
That is
That
correct.
he will have a backup manager or contact information available to the town in close compliance. And it's seconded by Lori. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, consideration of the issuance of a conditional use permit for the following purpose. The short-term rental at the property located at 1444 Sawgrass Drive, owned by Triple EEE Homes LLC, also described as Lot 73 of Sawgrass addition to Lake Arrowhead, located in the southwest one quarter, southeast one quarter, section 13, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, with a parcel number of 030-041520503. I make a motion that we table this due to the fact that we did not have anyone here representing the property at the time of the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I do think we need to, take under consideration the fact that we had a number of concerns. If we could get clarification on, I was under the impression that what the difference was in the different complaints that we get, and I thought that I know the ordinance that there's so many that it affects their license, so at our next meeting, if we could, find out exactly what it is with host compliance, and if we could get a better understanding of how that works, and maybe we need to consider what our complaint structure is and how that's handled, and, cause I know that our police do respond to those, they do take the complaints on those, and they're quite actively involved in those complaints on more than one occasion, so if it's also an association thing with Lake Arrowhead, we need a better understanding of what's actually going on there. So if we could have that on our next agenda. So it's a two-part thing, maybe.
Any other discussion? Motion's been made to table till next meeting, seconded by Paul. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
One other question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
There are additional fees then, right? Because there'll be, is that part of the hearing then and all that? So there's additional fees to this person and how that works?
So the item, it wasn't tabled, for example, till next meeting, but the item will conceivably be on the next agenda, provided the person can appear. We had our public hearing, so I don't know that it's going to be set for a public hearing.
Okay.
But I think the concerns can be communicated by Taylor to the property owner, so the property owner can address some of the concerns that were raised during the public hearing, so those aren't lost in the 1 month, duration, if that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board, consideration of proposed amendment to chapter 360 zoning, article 12, Lake District, 360-62D, other requirements, maximum sidewall height for detached accessory structures.
Make a motion that we recommend town board approval of the amendment to chapter 360.
I'll second.
Presented.
Okay, Jerry's made the motion to recommend the proposed amendment to chapter 360, seconded by Bill. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible referral to a future agenda, review zoning ordinance camping requirements under 360-9C5, display of camping permits.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just so I can give some background, and the reason it's a referral is because we hadn't seen this earlier, so I didn't want to put a public hearing until I had direction from you all. At the April 18th, 2024 town board meeting, the town reinstated the practice of having local business vendors process and issue camping permits as opposed to having town staff performing those activities. Processing and issuing camping permits in this way will also allow the town and vendor to utilize the town zoning hub software to then input issued permits, allowing for additional efficiencies in tracking and checking permit status for any specific property. With this process now in place, staff is requesting consideration of removing the posting requirements for camping permits found in the town code section 360-9, as we anticipate monitoring activities for compliance will now be migrating over to electronic means. Included in your packet materials is a request from Administrator Jason Lobby with pertinent background information related to the request. Additionally, a proposed draft amendment to the town code, section 360-9C5, I think it's D5. Removing language requiring display of camping permits is in your materials for consideration and possible referral to a future agenda.
Any discussion? Any?
Well, I guess I'll move to refer it to the next meeting.
Yeah, I think it's,
Just remove that sub 5 from the ordinance.
yep.
Well, the sub 6 will change to sub 5. And then that'll have,
But you're removing the old
yep,
sub 5, right?
correct.
Yeah,
So it's going to make water/septic requirements sub 5 now.
right, okay. Correct. Simple.
And I was wrong, it is C5. But yes, it'll be updated. I'll have a clean version. I can have that on hand so you can see it final form.
Okay, so that'll be on the next agenda.
Is there a second?
Yeah, you need a
Oh, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so our next agenda items so far that, what do we have?
We have short-term rental, application. We will put a presentation on how host compliance handles, processing those complaints so we can better understand that. We'll work on a presentation in that regard. And then we will have, pending the property owner being able to make it, we'll have the item that we tabled. I'm quite certain we'll also have other things, but those are the things that I have coming to mind.
The camping permit thing, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the first thing you mentioned.
Yes.
What?
Falls under the other things that come up. I'd also like to talk about the conditional use permits. We know we've been talking about it on and off for over a year for short-term rentals. But again, with the caveat that, we run across these issues with, the host compliance. So, but the conditional use, because that did come up with our discussion with our contracted land use community planner, and how things that we do over and over that are repetitious, that are pretty standard practice that staff can handle in-house, and how that can become part of the ordinance versus us handling it on a, every time we have our plan commission meeting. If it's something that's pretty standardized, we make it part of the ordinance, and then we do the stuff that's outside of that that's not regular. So if we can talk about that as a commission.
Okay, next meeting date and time. Well, 4 o'clock, right?
July 9th.
July 9th?
Yeah, I think it's on the bottom of this
Yep.
agenda anyways.
It is?
Yeah, it's on the final page
Oh,
of this
yeah.
agenda.
Thanks for pointing that out, Tom.
Unless you wanna change it.
No.
It's supposed to show up on July 9th and 4.
Okay, okay, so meeting adjourned.